Okay, I've got the sun set, so I have to shoot this right now because we have about 5-10 minutes before the sun really dips down. Here's 5 things that I wish I knew before I bought my Tesla. First thing being is the need for home charging. When I first bought my car, I didn't have charging at home. I got free charging on this one, so I thought I'd just charge the car on the supercharger, and I had one on my way to work, so I thought that would work okay, and it did for the period of 12 to 15 months that I used this solution. I live in an apartment top floor on a quite old building, so I thought I'd just eventually buy a long extension cord and just plug the car into my socket at home. Understandably, that solution got some headwind from my neighbors, so when I proposed the idea of just buying a long extension cord, pulling it into one of my sockets at home, I did not get that approved by my neighbors. So I scrapped the idea and just went with the charging on the supercharger instead. A few months passed by, and then one of my neighbors got engaged in the issue of getting charging at home, so he fixed a charging station at home. And now for the last 15 months I've had charging at home, and that is literally the dream. It's very, very convenient. I never have to think twice about how much battery I have in my car. It just works. I can drive anywhere, anytime. See, the supercharging network works really good, and if you're going longer than 400 kilometers, it really works. I've been everywhere with this car, from Lofoten up north down to Florence down south, and I've never had any issue of going into a supercharger stop and the supercharging working poorly or being out of function or anything. It really works. But for the everyday commuting, it really takes up a lot of time. When it comes to the day-to-day, and if you have conveniently, as I do, a supercharger on your way to work, you don't waste that much time when it comes to the daily commuting. But the problem comes when you're having days off. So when I charged only via the supercharger network, I charged my car every day when I went to work. But when the weekend comes, you also have to charge your car on the way home. And if you've also used your car a bit more than you originally planned, you have to make a detour to the supercharger on your day off. And that will set you off a couple of hours when you have your free time. That's really not nice. This do work, but if I knew the full ins and out of using the supercharger only, I wish I knew that before I bought my Tesla. Secondly, how bad the customer service is. I've had a few instances where I needed the Tesla customer service, but luckily the aftermarket forums is quite good, because the Tesla customer service is not professionals at any kind. They don't know the car, and the only tips that they can give you is doing a hard reset on your car practically. While a lot of times that fixes the problem that you've called them originally for, it's not really something that you would expect buying a Tesla in the first place. So that would be a thing that I would like to know before I bought my Tesla. Thirdly, no linkage between Tesla and the insurance company. I had an issue when my car had went 12,000 kilometers and I have to tow my car to the nearest service station. Handling this whole issue has not been convenient at all. I've owned several Audis, BMWs, Volvos, and every time I messed the car up and had to tow it to the nearest service station, the linkage between the insurance company and the car brand has never been an issue, and the problem always solved itself by itself. But at this time I had to meddle between the insurance company and Tesla, and it was really not a problem that I'd expected to have. So that would be a nice thing to know, and definitely I think I would like to know before I bought my Tesla. Fourthly, don't play around using the brakes for long amounts of time. The Model S is a heavy car, and it got this regenerating braking system, which loads up your battery. When you lose the pressure on the gas pedal, it will brake and load up your battery, which both is good for your brakes, your battery, and your economy and everything. But when you haven't used your brake properly for long amounts of time, especially during times when there is a lot of rain, you will add up corrosion on your braking plates, and your brakes will not work good when you really need them. So I would really bear that in mind, especially if you live like I do in Sweden here, when it comes to a lot of rain in the winter season and colder periods of the year. Because then when you're gonna use the brakes, it will work very bad. So use the brakes is better than not using them for long periods of time, because it will feel dangerous after a while. Fifth and final thing that I wish I knew before I bought this car, it's the one that being mindful of which power outlets that you put your car charging into. So you had your whole day in the car and you drive for a long time, and maybe you're gonna check out in an hotel that you don't know what kind of electricity outage they have there, what kind of power they can supply you, or maybe you're just at your friend's house and you're just asking them friendly if you can charge your car there by night. Just make sure you know what kind of power they can take, because it's very likely that you'll end up just tripping out the whole electricity situation there. So one thing that you can do though, is that inside your car you can lower the voltage that your car will pull from the outlet. So that can lower the stress you put on the electricity system, and you can test it out before you maybe max your voltage out from your car, because that can definitely trip out the whole electricity systems. I've done it more than once, maybe 10 times on 5 different locations. So it's very common that you can trip out the electricity. Okay, sun has set, the video is over, and that is 5 things that I wish I knew before I bought my car. I hope you found the video to be helpful or entertaining. Please like the video if you did, subscribe if you haven't already, and you have a great day. Good luck with your buying decision or whatever you're up to, okay? Bye.